Hi, this is Grover with Blue Collar Codes, Quick and Dirty, episode 18-2, going over the debugging features in PyCharm. Almost identical to everything in VS Code, but just slightly different in location of the features. And so one thing of note is the breakpoints. Here you can set breakpoints by clicking on lines of executable code. And these are called line breakpoints, where once this line of code is hit, then it'll just pause and suspend the execution of the rest of the program. And then you can utilize the debugging console to step through, step over, step into, and step out of all of the executable code to see what's happening and how the variables are changing along with your code or script. So I'm going to go into it. I've set a breakpoint here. I can also set it here at the top level, so whenever this is called. But sometimes it's almost better just to do it here because it'll also stop when it's first instantiating or first creating the namespace for this script. It'll stop when it's doing the initial adding or creation of this name in the namespace. So if you don't want it to stop at that point, you would just stop it down here. So when it's actually running the rest of the function, then it'll stop. So that's one thing that you're going to learn is just how to navigate where you need to place your breakpoints in order to see what you actually want to see without wasting too much time by, say, stopping somewhere far away from the actual problem and then trying to iterate or go through step by step. So you'll learn more as time goes on where you need to place breakpoints for added efficiency. So again, similar to VS Code, the debugging icon is here. It's not in a drop down. So you just click this little debug icon and it'll automatically execute your code and get you to the first breakpoint. Here you have the same kind of stack trace that was visible in VS Code, just basically showing you if you're in nested classes or you have nested function calls to kind of show you how, where exactly is the source of the problem. And then here you have, again, very similar to VS Code, you just have a list of active variables and their values. What you can do is you can write and add to this list if you have special variable names you want to have watched. And here again are all of the same button types. You have, restart, stop, continue executing the program until you hit the next breakpoint. Then you have step over, which so long as there isn't a breakpoint in a function, you can just step over it entirely, so you don't have to step through say, a for loop or step into that function itself. When you do want to go line by line, you do step into. But this will also step into source code for built-ins or modules. So just watch out for that. If the error travels through a built-in or some other different source code than the existing file, then you're going to be stepping through that function or class or method or what have you by clicking step into. If you want to limit this to just stepping into your code, so you're not going to be opening up source code files and starting to iterate and visualize going through those line by line, you can just do step into my code, and then you can step out of functions or nested code or calls by using step out. So I'm going to continue on. I'm going to do step out. So it basically was executing this line of code, but I know that there's no issue there. So I stepped out of it. I didn't need to see the rest of the iterations, but basically what happened was the original dictionary is now turned into this, so I know that it completed effectively. So it was 1, 2, 3, and it added 4, 5, 6 to the 1, 2, 3, so now we have 5, 7, 9. I know this function, I don't need to see it iterate through this for loop, and I just showed it there just to showcase how I can use step over. And so I was stepping over that because I don't need to see that printed, stepping over this. But this I won't be able to step over because there's a breakpoint. So I can step into this one and I can kind of watch it iterate. But now I know that there's no issue with it. I see it updating. This is very nifty here where it kind of gives you live updates. You can see exactly what these values are for all these variables as it's doing it. You also have that information here. But I know there's no issue here, so I'm going to step out, return to that line of code, step over, step over, step over, and then I know that there's going to be an issue here. So I can step into this code, and then I can go ahead and I can iterate through it. And then I can see the exact time that an error is called. And so here, because it tried to add the t to that integer, it has a type error and that was thrown. So this is one of the key uses of the debugging tool, is being able to set breakpoints and then step through your code, and so you can see the exact state of your variables and see why it could possibly have taken place and why there was an exception thrown. So this is Grover again with Blue Collar Codes, Quick and Dirty, episode 18. We were just going over debugging with PyCharm. Thank you for joining. I'll see you next time.